All our base units have 4 legs on them. Each leg is individually adjustable to ensure that the work surfaces are completely level. This also has a secondary benefit in that all the weight is taken down through the legs onto the floor as opposed to wall mounting base units. By having them floor mounted, it ensures that the person who's using that kitchen can weight bear against the work surface and not run the risk of pulling the units off the wall. The electric ovens that we supply, we have 2 types. We have either one with a side opening door or we have one with a slide and hide door. But the oven itself is always situated in such a position that the centre shelf is as near the work surface height as possible. We would also arrange for a heat-proof shelf to the left or the right of the oven, depending on their dominance, to allow them to transfer the food from the oven onto a heat-proof shelf. The slide and hide oven door is the most appropriate because the door disappears completely and giving that person much greater access and enable them to get closer to the oven and not stretch. There is also telescopic shelves available for that oven, which again aids their ability to use the oven because you can pull the shelf out, deal with the food in the oven and then push the shelf back in again without taking the weight of the food at all. It's all staying on the shelf, supported fully, with your hands free to do what you want. The rise and fall units are available in 2 versions. We have a freestanding version where you can see the wall structure behind, and that would be in a situation where it's a non-load bearing wall and you would have to use a freestanding unit. You can see the services behind that unit with it being freestanding. On the wall mounted version there are modesty panels installed where you wouldn't see the pipework and the electrical cables behind it, but it operates in exactly the same way. Both these units have a proximity switch fitted along the front edge which will detect the armrests of a wheelchair or someone's knees. If that person's lost sensation in their legs, it will switch off as soon as it comes up against the first obstruction. The hobs that we have 4 different types of hob. We have a gas hob, we have a radiant electric hob, a halogen hob and an induction hob. A gas hob wouldn't be recommended in an adapted kitchen. If it's on a budget, we would probably suggest the radiant electric hob. Then you come to the halogen hob and the induction hob. The most appropriate hob for an adapted kitchen is an induction hob. The benefits of the induction hob are it's as controllable as gas. You can turn the heat up and down very, very quickly. There is also very, very low residual heat retained within an induction hob. And the main safety feature of it is when you take the pan off the hob, it automatically switches off. It will only operate when there is a pan on the hob. You must use steel-based pans on an induction hob. You can't use aluminium pans. Storage units that we have are pull-out baskets and kidney-shaped baskets that go into corner units to give again people the most access to the cupboards without having to stretch and reach out of a wheelchair to access something in the back of the cupboard. It brings the products completely out of the cupboard to their nearest point. The drawers are all on extended runners, so the drawer comes completely out of the cabinet. The drawers are metal-sided with an 18mm base in them, and they will carry up to 35 kilos in weight in each drawer, which again is very, very high for the kitchen industry. The sinks we use are all stainless steel. They can either be single bowl or bowl and a half, and again these can be either left or right hand drainer. Again, this is dependent on whether the person's need is left or right hand dominant. The bowls are all shallow bowl, between 125 and 140mm in depth. And the most important thing is the underside of the bowl is also fully insulated. This is not to keep the water hot in the sink, it's to prevent heat transfer from the bowl onto someone's knees if they're in a wheelchair and they've got a condition where they've lost sensation in their legs. It's a safety feature. Also along the front edge of the work surface on a rise and fall unit with a sink in, there again is the proximity switch which will stop the sink unit from coming down once it reaches an obstruction such as the armrests of a wheelchair or someone's knees. All the hinges are soft close. The hinges are also 170-degree ability to open. This ensures that the door moves as far away from the cabinet as possible to give the person the most access to that cupboard. The handles are all a loop handle. None of them have extended peg on the end so they don't catch on people's clothing, causing them to fall, trip or drop the food that they're carrying. There are many accessories available for the kitchen. In the base units we can have a pull-out ironing board in the top drawer. You can have a pull-out work table in the top drawer. You can also have pull-out baskets in the base units so that you can pull the inside of the cupboard completely out and have access to those products in the cupboard without having to reach. There is ride-out kidney-shaped bowls for corner units, again giving great access to everything within the cupboard. In the wall units, we have active-motion electrically driven wall units that will come right down to the work surface, or manually operated drop-down boxes within the wall units, again to give great access to the products within the cupboard. The AKW wall unit has a proximity switch on the underside so that when it reaches an obstruction on the bench, such as a wine glass or a cup, it will stop and not break that glass. The drop-down wall basket has 2 shelves in it and has got variable load assistance on gas struts. It can go from approximately 2 kilos up to 10 kilos weight bearing, and this is adjustable by actuator switches on the inside. It can be operated literally with 2 fingers to bring those drop-down baskets down to work level and then pushed back into the cupboard with 1 finger and a soft close back into the cupboard.